Welcome, everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and I know you are all here for another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. And I got a big show planned because my guest is, everybody loves her, and she's just amazing. And I hear she could be, a little feisty on occasion when it comes to being on here. So I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot to talk about. So if you hang with me for about 10 seconds, I promise we'll be right back. And we're back. Like I said, it's 10 seconds. It's not that long. I know I usually say about, but it is what it is. With me this evening, I have the one, the only, the amazing and awesome Eliza-May Austin, CEO of ThatSecurity.company, also PocketSIEM. And I've been saying CEO, but I think you guys just developed DRACOEYE, if I'm not mistaken. It's more of a development project versus an actual company. Maybe. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Same with PocketSIEM. It's a service. So I'm just the CEO of that security company. PocketSIEM's a service, and DRACOEYE is just a tool that we created and put on the internet.
There you go. That's awesome. So I know, because you sent it to me, how you got into cybersecurity. And for those that didn't see my LinkedIn post today, I kind of put a little teaser in there on how she got started, kind of the way I did, which is, you go back in the day to, some of the older movies. So why don't you tell people how you got into cybersecurity? Because I think that's really what we're here for, is how other people kind of find their way into the field.
Okay. So playing on your teaser, I'll start right at the bottom, not to be, contentious. I was born on a Wednesday. I'm joking. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so years ago, when I was a little girl, I watched the film The Net with Sandra Bullock in it, and she was like in her own house, chilling. She didn't have to leave. She worked from home. This is like in the 90s. So those of you that are really young, you're just like, well, yeah, that's normal. No, back then it was not normal. I think she was like a malware engineer or like a malware analyst or a developer that did malware analysis or something. And the whole film was like around this woman that just sort of stayed at home. She didn't like to go out of the house. And then these big corporate companies just sent her malware to analyze. And I was like, oh! Anyway, she ordered a pizza online and didn't leave the house and just ordered a pizza. And then she's like eating a pizza while she's talking to some random on like some fucking IRC channel. And I was just like, oh my God, I want to be her. And that genuinely was the first time that I was like, I'd love to do that. But at the same time, I was really young, and I was also, wearing dungarees and farting on my brother. So it wasn't, a thing. I didn't at that moment think, yeah, I'm going to go into cybersecurity. Certainly not. But that was definitely the precursor, and that set the scene.
And it's crazy too, because so you had, I think back then we had Hackers, the Net, and maybe one or two others that came out that really showcased. Which one?
The girl in Jurassic Park. She hacks not a Linux, a Unix system, and
yep.
she's like,
oh, this is Unix. I can do this.
Like, I know this. It's Unix. And then she captures the Velociraptor in the door just at the right moment. And you're like, yes, the 14-year-old girl saves the day, and no one. Sorry, I'm gonna say the wrong words, and I'm probably gonna be like all the way.
You could. Hey, look, this is my show, Eliza. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter. You're good.
Boon hammers. That's what I wanted to say right at that moment. No, for anyone that doesn't know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Italy right now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I've been at a dinner party all night drinking wine, and I've come in, I've made a cup of tea, and try not to humiliate myself online. But anyway, let's go.
You're not going to humiliate yourself. Look, if anybody can humiliate yourself, I can humiliate myself. I've done a damn good job of it over the past 3 years between dropped bottles and slurred words and everything else. So I think you're in good company. It'll be all right. But with that, so and Jack put it up here. So before we get into business enablement through security, because that's really, the crux of what security should do. Jack wants to know, and I think everybody wants to know, your why. Why, beyond the movies, beyond everything else of what kind of triggered, I might be able to do this. What is your why for security? Why are you doing this?
Okay, so what I'm supposed to say and what everyone seems to say is that they came out of the womb holding a computer, and there was like, they came out of the womb and literally went, I'm no longer in. It's like, well, no shit. Anyway, sorry. So
password gone.
Eliza has left the building. So no, that wasn't me. I literally I was a waitress. I was working in bars, in shit jobs. I'm, an artist to the core, but you can't make money being an artist. And especially if you're a shit one like me, I literally looked around years ago and went, what industry is there to interest me and keep my interest for a long time and have a career in? Now, at the time that I had this sort of epiphany, I was I was studying forensic science, and I wasn't very good at it. It was really hard. I thought I was going to go into a situation where I was cutting up dead bodies and like catching serial killers and like, being like doing all this creepy stuff in the killer movies. And really, it's boring. It's all maths. And someone stabs someone, and then you go, right, I've got to work out some mathematic bullshit there's a droplet there. On what velocity, on what day, on what time, whose arsehole was involved in that stab? Right. Okay. I don't want to know. It's gross and whatever. What I decided to do was look at around me what industries were making money and which ones were interesting. And I thought, I'm already doing forensics. I'll move and I'll do digital forensics, which is what I did. I went to university and did digital forensics. Now, the reason I'm just so open about that is because I think we need to normalize, as an industry, people being interested in it because of necessity, because of money, because of career progression, rather than passion. So we talk a lot in this industry about passion, and we want to recruit people that have got passion. We want to promote people that have got passion. We want people on our podcast that have got passion, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, really, you can have all the fucking passion in the world that you want, but without drive and without tenacity and, the ability to make strategic career-based decisions, you're not really going to go very far. You can have a lot of talent. You can be like an amazing artist, but if you don't paint anything,
do you not think though that with passion comes that drive and tenacity for the career field?
No, I think you can be incredibly passionate about something and not have any drive to succeed in a particular domain. You see it all the time. I've worked with loads of people that are way better than me. So I've been in jobs before where I've worked with someone and I think they're underpaid. They're working under me. They're probably better than me, but they like to just come in every day and do that thing and then go home and,
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but I see your point, because it's odd, because I found this shift in myself where there's a reason I got into management. And it was because, when I wasn't doing the job every day, I always wanted to learn it and grow and keep getting bigger and better and learning more things. And then as I started doing it every day, by the time the day ended, I was like, I'm done. I don't have the drive to continue to like, okay, look, what's the next 0 day? What's the next malware? How can I break into the next hit? Like, I just lost that because I was doing it every
It's exhausting.
day. Yeah. And so for me, it was like, well, I could either keep going this technical route, but then I got to not only do the job every day, keep learning the job every day, or I can migrate into management and still find enjoyment by reading articles and doing different things. Because now my day-to-day work does not revolve around the technical aspect. So that is kind of where I broke off, was like, if I'm doing it every day, I can't do it 24 hours a day.
But there are some people that are talented and they are passionate and they are happy to do that every day. And the thought of management or the experience that they've had in the past of management has been the thing that they can't continue to do. So I'm the same as you. So for me, continuing to learn the next thing, continuing to see the next 0 day and unpick how it works. And I've had to do all those things. And especially working in DFIR and instant response, you have to sort of not just learn what the 0 day is, but learn the wider impact on the system and on the business. And you do kind of get to a point where you go, okay, if I have to learn about the way it impacts the business anyway, I may as well go into the more business side. And then before you know it, you've taken your hands off of the tech, and then it's really hard to get back onto it. And there are some people that scares them, and they actually want to stay on the tech, and we need those people. And I think there's a lot of discourse at the moment around like people being really proud about the fact that they're not technical and they're working in cyber, and I call bullshit on that. And I think that we need people to be technical. We need people to remain technical. And we need those people that aren't interested in going into management. And we need to find other routes and other progression routes and, benefits for those people to sort of sustain that interest in a way that benefits our industry, but also makes them not bored, but doesn't force them into management.
Me and some of my other, other companies I've worked for and other people I've discussed this with, there needs to be a technical C-level. A CISO isn't technical. Their management, their business, it's all business enablement, it's all finances and da-da-da-da. So they kind of lose that hands-on keyboard aspect, usually. Not always, but usually. Lose that hands-on keyboard, don't really have their ear to the ground of everything that's going on. Because it's impossible to manage a company, manage people, and have that. I think we need to get to a point where, yes, we have a CIO, we have a CISO. You need a technical person that is hands-on keyboard, works with their people, is always learning, is always growing, and that is how they remain technical. Now, if you don't want to call it C-level, that's fine. It could be security, whatever. I don't know. I just know you need to be able to hit that point where you can remain technical, but still be getting, your hands on the keyboard and stuff, but still get paid like somebody that's been doing the job or in management for 30 years. Like, you need to have that equivocation, because technical people eventually have to go out and basically contract themselves out to make the money that some of these C-levels do. Because
say out again.
What'd you say?
Did you say out?
I said out.
It's like they need to go out, contract themselves out.
Look, it's my Pittsburghese, all right? Don't judge me, all right?
I love it.
I could judge you all day for being across the pond, but I don't do that, all right?
I love it.
But it is odd. I do say odd, all right? Look, don't judge me. It's my Pittsburghese coming out on me. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so it is what it is. Right. But and I think that's where we get into that business enablement, because you can't. A CISO isn't technical, and as much as they try to be, there's too much work. There's too much policy. There's too much bureaucracy. You can't remain technical as a CISO, and you need that technical person that could speak to everything that's going on. And I think that's where that enablement that we want to talk about is really going to come in, is having that technical person at that level that's getting paid at that level. I don't give a damn if they're not on the board and you don't give them that title, but they're getting paid that amount to directly talk to the CISO and still have their hands on the keyboard every day.
I guess the issue, like from a business perspective, is if that person, they might have been working in a technical role for 30 years, but they don't have the responsibility, they're not worth the money. So this
is where I'm going to talk to you as a CEO. you run your own company, right? You're a co-founder, you're a CEO, you have a board of directors, you kind of go through all this stuff. Would you see value to someone now I know it's a little bit harder because you are a security company, but from an internal perspective, would you see value from a technical person that is still day in, day out, they're learning, they're growing, their hands are on the keyboard, either at or maybe just below that CISO, but their job is not to manage people. Their job is to continue to understand and know that technology and the security aspects.
So yes, but would I be willing to pay the same as a director and not give them responsibility or any of the management tasks? No. Like, we're not big enough as a company. No. And I wouldn't do it if I was in a massive company. So I definitely see the value in hiring security researchers from a marketing perspective. If I'm honest, I'm just being honest here. Right?
Yeah.
I could be like, oh yeah, we should just hire people and just like give people jobs and not expect anything from them. And if they find something great,
if they don't give you value though, like value add to the company,
yeah, fuck off. No, like that's bullshit. And people that say otherwise are not running a business very well, quite frankly. So, for example, we have a director of technology. He's amazing. He's very hands-on. He's technical. He's very much a technical lead, but he does like the people management stuff as well. Amazing. Perfect. Couldn't ask for better. Now, we're at a size of business, so there's just like 20 of us and we're growing, but there's a steady 20 of us. And he has a lot of technical responsibility, but he also manages people. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. I can justify that spend. Now, if I was to just section him out and think, actually, I just want the technical side of him, and actually scrap that, just a bit of security research and write some articles. No, like it's not worth the same amount of money to me. No, not at all. And it's just not. So
and I don't disagree with you, because even if you look at it right, and so me, I love Big Bang Theory. I do. It is one of my favorite shows. But when you look at these universities, they pay researchers. They become tenure, whatever. They pay researchers, but not at the amount that you would pay someone in cybersecurity. Even from like a level 2 analyst or engineer level, they're not getting paid the same amount. So to go out and expect, I don't know. So salaries are going to differ between, where you're at over in, Italy and the UK and England and things like that versus, or Europe in general, versus here in the US. Like our system of pay is completely different. But if you're looking at, so take someone in the US that makes $120,000 a year. They're usually a level 2 analyst, depending on where you live and who's paying your salary. Like Google, okay, if you're living in California, then 120 isn't a lot. So you might be making, $200,000 a year as a level 2. So where you live matters. But I digress. The point
they don't have any left though, because they're spending on avocados. Like, I don't get paid enough. It's like, well, stop having $5 coffees and
quit going to Starbucks every single day, 5 times a day, and maybe you'll have money.
Yes, Tyler.
Look, my vices: caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol, as well as some, I like my ink therapy. I have some tattoos, so that's my therapy. But it comes down to, you can't expect, as somebody who does a lot of technical stuff and has to work with clients or work within an organization to enable that business to do better, to get paid the same amount that somebody that literally sits there every day and is just counting on grants to do research. Like it's two completely different levels of thought process and business acumen, I would say.
I would absolutely agree with that 100%. Can I ask you a question? I know it's your interview, but can I ask you a question? Out of the characters of the Big Bang Theory, which one would you say you are most like?
Oh, that's a rough one. Probably Leonard. Probably
really?
Leonard.
Yeah?
Yeah, because one, I'm married, I've got 5 kids, and I'm not as socially anxious or don't have that social anxiety that like Sheldon or Wolowitz or Raj do. Nor do I have a a semi-homo like gay relationship with my best friend, because that's what Wallowitz and Raj had for the longest time. I forget what they termed it, but basically, I did not develop a marriage with my best friend that was a guy. It just didn't happen. I've always, but for the longest time, yes, it took. I never really was outgoing. All of my girlfriends, everything growing up, were just part of my friend group. For me to put myself out there was just something I didn't do until this show, and I got older. And then got married and didn't have to worry about putting myself out there anymore. Now I'm just like, all right, screw it, I'll just do it for fun.
Half expecting, like, you're like saying Howard, what? Leonard. But I'm half expecting, like, your wife from the other room to be like, Howie!
Oh, my goodness. If my wife, so my wife is upstairs, and I could hear her and the kids yelling at each other, because that's what we do around here. So I can hear them up there, and I'm just like, I swear, if she comes out one of these days with like Howard's mom's voice or Bernadette's voice when she's yelling, we're fighting. I'm walking out. I'm leaving, and I'm out. But yeah, so no, I do. I'm one of those people. I love like How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory. Like that's, and again, we're getting off topic, but I don't care. It's my show. I'll do whatever I want.
What's your favorite hacker movie? Is it Hackers?
That's a toss up. I love the premise of Hackers, like the plot line behind it. Now the mechanics and the actual security aspects and how things went down, not necessarily. However, modern day, it was Die Hard, the one with the fire sale, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was like Die Hard 4 or 5. I don't know. They keep coming out with more at this point. But
he's got some brain disease now, hasn't he? Bruce Willis. They're probably going to wheel him out, and he's going like, oh my God, can you edit that out?
So I think it was Die Hard 4. They talk about the fire sale, and the reason I love that one is because it's so true. And people are like, that could never happen. I'm like, no. You don't realize the people out there can bring down your entire freaking infrastructure. Everything. Yes. And they're like, oh, no, that'll never. This is real. Like, this could actually happen. And if you don't think it can, just leave.
I haven't seen it. I stopped watching them at like Die Hard 15. I can't stand Bruce Willis.
Like it did go over the top, but the reality of it is that type of premise, I just think the fact that they brought the hackers into it and everything else like that, like it just spoke to me. I was like, this legitimately could happen, and we're not prepared for it.
I can't stand Bruce Willis. But
that's my fear.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of attacks on CNI. I mean, I thought it was super interesting just a couple of years ago with Florida and the water and the water filtration system there. Like, that is the shit of sci-fi movies, but it's real. Yeah. Sorry.
I look at the legitimacy of things. Like I said, plotline, hackers, one of the best. The Net 2, like them both back in that time frame, fantastic plot lines. The legitimacy of it is up there with the legitimacy of NCIS and two people typing on the same keyboard at the same time trying to accomplish things. Like, it's just not real. But the plot itself is. So that is where I'm like, that type of plot, I get. But the legitimacy of how things are done, there's a lot of ping going on.
In the Net, it's very much like identity theft, isn't it? So she doesn't conform, and then her identity gets wiped, and then she can't do anything. And that is, I think, getting increasingly more prevalent in the sense of we're completely dependent. Like, we're in a cashless society now. Well, we are in the UK. It's like we're completely dependent on tech. And if you do say the wrong thing, vote the wrong thing, tweet the wrong thing, whatever, you could easily find yourself in future in a position where you are paralyzed digitally.
Well, look at China with their social.
No thanks.
Like,
Oh God, I'm so gonna get us both cancelled. I'm sorry.
dude, go ahead, cancel me. I'll still come back. I'm independent. Nobody owns me. I can do what I want. I don't care.
I'm my own boss. Let's just cancel the shit out of
See,
ourselves.
we're good. We're good,
Yeah.
Eliza. We're good.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna call your boss. Hello. This is Eliza
Hi, it's
speaking.
me. I'm my boss. I did what?
But no, so you know, the more I think about it, right? So this is the importance of, we talk so much about security. We talk so much about how things can be defended, how things can be, how pen tests and red teams and things like that. But ultimately, because we have to also enable business, which means allowing holes, allowing vulnerabilities, mitigating them as much as possible, but you still have to allow them. So as security, and I work for an MSSP, you are an MSSP, like, how do we go about enabling the business while at the same time securing it as much as possible? Because that is where I find the biggest difficulty, when you're getting a lot of pushback on things that you're like, dude, just kill your XP system, please. Like, stop it. like knock that shit off. It's 30 years old by now. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we should have an allergic reaction to the XP system. But so you have to think of like the actual, when we say, oh, you have to enable the business, and like, actually tangibly, what does that mean? So, you know, for example, you may have a particular country or a particular medical scenario where there's a MRI scanner that is running on XP, for example, and it's way out of date, it's very old, but it costs £10 million, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying it costs.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right, they're millions of pounds. Now, you can't just go, okay, that operating system's out of date, let's just get rid of it and get another one. It's not the same as just an upgrade. It's £10 million. Now, it might be public money, or it might be just be that you don't have the budget for it, or just the fact that they're not readily made. You can't get hold of one. That's just a really good example of, you have to take a pragmatic approach to go, right, okay, we've got this thing. If we just left it, if we put it on the internet, it would die. So what do? Right, well, we have to protect around it. We have to air gap it somehow. We have to be really sort of pragmatic in our approach, rather than just go with common discourse and what we're told on paper to believe and to say. We have to step away from that and go, actually, what's right for this business? And what's right for this business is either we keep the £10 million piece of kit that's massively out of date, keep the staff to control it, invest in money, invest the money in protecting it, or we get rid of it and we pay £50 million for the newest version. Yep. Okay, so the best thing for that hypothetical business is actually to keep the thing that you've got. It works, it's doing the job. There's a backlog of patients waiting to be scanned by it. The staff are trained on how to use it. The engineers are trained on how to manage it. It connects to the network. There isn't a problem with it, other than cybersecurity people are telling you it's out of date. Everyone else is fine with it. It works for the business. Financially, it's viable. The only thing that's the problem is you've got cybersecurity people and people, you know, working in IT that have got an interest in, patching and maintenance, saying we need to get rid of it. Well, actually, as a business, I need a better argument than that. I need an argument that there is actually a loss to life. I need an argument that we're actually going to go bankrupt if we don't. I need an argument that we're going to end up on the news if we don't. I need an argument that if we did end up on the news and we went bankrupt, that there would actually be massive consequences for that, and the government's not going to bail us out. So you have to take a strategic approach to this. There's a lot of industries where there's out-of-date kit, and there's a lot of industries where there's out-of-date kit because they can't be bothered. They don't have good cybersecurity hygiene, but more importantly and more prevalently, it's simply that there's things that they can't move through regulation or necessity. And the consequences of actually doing something about it would be greater. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that we have to have some understanding of that. And I think industrial control system security is one of those areas where there's like a contentious issue where you get these people that are working with You know, they might be working in factories that are producing paint or whatever, and it's not, you know, there's no loss of life. There's, you know, the world's not going to end if this company doesn't produce paint anymore. But if they were to take it offline for half a day to patch it and have someone come in and fanny about with it for half a day, it's going to cost them millions. They're going to lose a lot of money. It's going to create a backlog in distribution. And, you know, things are going to be out of stock. And the end result for the business is massive financially, reputationally. They look unreliable. They look like things go out of stock. They can't sell on the Amazon store, blah, 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 blah. But you've got a cybersecurity person there saying, but it's out of date and we need to patch it. Right. Okay. So that there's just a complete misalignment there. So we have to take some understanding for it. And then if you are right and you have assessed against the business whether or not it's the right thing to do to remove that thing and its legacy, and we actually could do a better job and it's not going to cost that much and blah, 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 blah. It's actually on us as cybersecurity professionals to go to the business, the board, whoever's in charge, the budget holder, with a language they understand, right? So a brain surgeon doesn't go and have a conversation about, you know, I don't know, the fucking cleanliness of the brain surgery room. I am talking shit right now. And start talking about science to the cleaners or, you know, to whoever's responsible for that. They'll start talking about the consequences, right? And the fact that, you know, we might get sued. So if someone gets an infection when I performed surgery because things have not been sanitized properly, I don't know why I'm going all medical, I'm really sorry. You know, the consequences for the hospital is it's going to cost millions of pounds. It's going to be all over the news and we're going to lose whatever. People could die. Right. We have to take that same sort of approach when it comes to cybersecurity. You know, if we cannot deal with this situation, the consequences are this, the financial impact is this, the reputational impact is this. You don't just go to the board and go, it's no longer in fashion, or what is in fashion is that we patch these systems, or no one's using this tool anymore.
Right.
I don't give a shit. Fuck off. Get out of my room. Like, no.
So what would be your advice? So let's look at it. Let's get away from critical infrastructure, right? Because critical infrastructure is one thing, because when you're looking at like hospitals, IoT and things like that with like power and energy and gas and things of that nature, the reason those companies are behind, those industries are behind, is because you had companies stand up that said, hey, we're going to support you with updates and patches for 10, 20, 30 years. 5 years later, they're out of business, and now you can't get your updates. Like, it's just, but to replace it is, to your point, now it's going to cost me X amount of dollars, billions, millions, whatever, to replace an entire system. Or I could pay someone to just help me mitigate this for a couple $100,000 a year, like whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I'll rather mitigate the threat than eliminate the threat, because budget wise, it doesn't make sense to spend $50, $100, $200 million on something that I could pay someone $100,000 a year to just go out there and be like, hey, can you like air gap this? Can you make this better? So 2 different industries. So you've got critical infrastructure in hospitals and things like that. Then you got something that, let's say, a gas station, right? And their infrastructure is like, hey, we can't reboot these servers because it'll cost us, I don't know, X amount of dollars for 5 minutes. Homie, if you can't reboot a server, you've got bigger issues, because that means you don't have redundancy. You don't have a way to handle what's going on. So at what point does enablement or you know, trying to agree with the business really hinder it? Because now, okay, I get you. If you reboot this server, you're going to have X amount of dollars lost. But if you were to stand up another server that is redundant and does the exact same function as a failover, now I can reboot this kicks in, and they get patched alternately. That way you're always online and you're never offline.
Perfect. So 100%, that is the common sense thing to do. That's what you should do. But if you're you and you're working at this gas station and they go, yeah, we're not going to give you the budget for that, we're not going to give you the resources for that,
then you lose whatever when I tell you to reboot your shit.
Reboot your shit. Put that on a t-shirt.
I bought stickers that said patch your shit. It was on one of my old laptops because I had this problem with a law firm also. Because same thing. I applied for a job and they didn't hire me, apparently, because I told them, look, I'm not going to deal with lawyers. They're like, oh, I'm in the middle of something. I can't reboot. Look, I'll give you your time, but I'll only give you so much. And then I'm going to force reboot your shit so that it'll patch, so that the kernel updates can go in and we're good to go. Registry, whatever the fuck it is for Windows, we're good to go. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, no. Me? I'm going to.
I can do whatever I want.
Reboot your shit so that it can patch and so that I don't get yelled at because all of a sudden, now you've got data leaks and ransomware and all this. Well, why'd this happen? Because this asshole didn't want to reboot his system. Like, that's really what it comes down to. So much of it falls on us, but the reality of it is Joe Blow down the block didn't want to reboot his laptop. So now our entire network's compromised.
So, okay. So let's go back to the petrol station, gas station scenario. I mean, what you could do is look at a period of time throughout a year and analyze when the least busy time is. Mm-hmm. So you've got a week, right, where you're not gonna lose like the height of summer. People are traveling, going on holiday, right, and they're passing that station, right? There's not commuting or anything like that. Maybe it's Christmas and it's cold and people aren't leaving the house. I don't know, right? Then you'd use that time to then argue the case. You'd argue the case that is the time to do it, that if you were to do it now, you would lose this much. The compromise is you can wait and lose this much, and it's a lot less. You'll have failover, you'll have redundancy, and in the long run, blah, 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 right? Get that. In terms of like the legal scenario that we're talking about, the business leaders might have been looking at that and going, right, if we have a case in an hour and this guy reboots the system and then it's lost or it's fucked up or we can't get it back online or whatever, like that could cost us loads of money. We could get sued. We could lose the case. So like it is hard. It's not.
But I think like, this is where security comes into play to say, I'm gonna give you leeway. Meaning, you can sit there and say, hey, look, my desktop does it to me. When are you not online? 3 a.m. Cool. I will reboot your shit then. Bet. All right, homie. I'll come back and we'll be good. Like, you can do that. We can set those things in motion so that at a certain time, X, Y, and Z will happen. It'll come online. You'll be good to go. Just make sure before you're done for the day, you press that save button. Because if shit hits the fan, we want to make sure that your stuff's backed up. Because these days, 9 times out of 10 is backed up to your OneDrive or your Google Cloud or whatever anyway. So we got you. But to sit here and be like, no, you can't reboot my stuff. Ever. Homie, learn what the save button is so that I can reboot your fucking system. Please. I beg of you.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because like the earlier on in your career you are in cybersecurity or in IT in general, the more you panic about these things and the more you're like, oh, like there's a 0 day on this and like you can't use this particular tool and that's got a bad reputation and we need to do this and this is an emergency. And like the more you know, the more you know what you don't know and there's other stuff to panic about. But equally, the stuff you were panicking about, you don't panic about as much. And again, like it's really easy to kind of be very business centric. Like I suppose I am being on this conversation. And then equally, it's very easy to be very sort of cyber focused. And then I think the sweet spot is sort of meeting in the middle and understanding that yes, there's a business, but also I have to add value as a defender to this business, and I can't just be like pandering to what Jeffrey in accounts wants.
And that's really what it comes down to, though, right? Finding I think we need to find that middle ground as an industry of business enablement and understanding the financials and the business side of things while still maintaining the security and the technical aspects. And to your point, early on in my career, I had no business acumen. Like business enablement, I gave zero fucks about. For me, it was patch your shit or I'm going to reboot your shit and patch it myself. I don't care. But then as I've come along in my career, I'm like, okay, now I have a better understanding of the why. I'm an adult now. So I know people need to make money.
I'm a big boy, man.
So like that more kicked in and I was just like, all right, I get this. But I still think that companies are still so focused on the money aspect. They don't understand the repercussions of when shit hits the fan. So if you get hit with ransomware because, you decided not to reboot that Windows 11 system with an O-Day, you're like, it'll be okay for, 3 to 6 months. It'll be all right. No one will touch it. But, that user decided to click the link and be like, oh, yeah, you can install this or run this VB script or whatever. Now, all of a sudden, your entire network's compromised. Like, okay, now how do we come back from that? Good luck.
Well,
I hope you have a good PR department. Like,
well, the counter argument to that is if you have the potential for an end user computer to make a mistake on an end user computer and that to fuck up your network or your business, like you have no business having a business.
I like the way you think.
Like you don't know, do you? Like when they say, oh, well, we need to educate Kelly in HR that she's got to stop clicking on links. And you're like, that's literally her fucking job. Her job is to click on links. Or, Jeffrey in accounts, his job is to open invoices that he gets sent in an email. And you're telling him, you need to stop opening those invoices you're getting sent in an email. It's not realistic. And these things have to be realistic. And like the whole training and awareness thing, like really pisses me off because it's
I despise CBTs as it is. Like computer-based training, I'm just going to click through, give me the damn test. I'm going to pass it anyways. Knock your shit off because you're going to keep letting me retake it. And I'm just going to keep clicking through and take the test until I pass.
Yeah.
So please bring somebody to me that can tell me when I'm fucking up. Like, please. I want to talk to a person, not a computer. This is why I hate robo-dialers and robocalls. Please.
And RoboCop.
Give me a person.
How dare you with your helmet and your metal shin pads.
Y'all just trying to save money and not secure your shit is what I look at it
as. Secure your shit.
I am. Look, everybody got past their shit. I'm going to have secure your shit. I'm coming up with new stickers. It's happening. I'm going to do it.
Yes.
But no, I mean, I understand the premise that you can't rely on because users are 9 times out of 10, the user does something that is part of their job, or maybe they've read an email wrong or something happens. It'll trigger an exploit. It'll trigger malware and your system gets owned. To your point, you should not be able to go from a laptop or a desktop even to your server and have that network just go straight through. Like, oh, I got domain admin. I'm good.
Yeah.
I now own everything. Like, so there's infrastructure and other security concerns. But when you're looking at somebody's hospitals and banks and power companies, like, I can't tell you how many networks I've seen where I'm just like, oh, dude, it would take me 0.5 seconds to send an email. Like that's all it would take is an email. And all I got to say is, hey, reset your password by clicking here because somebody already owns your password. And they'd be like, oh, okay, click. Previous password is this, new password is that. So I know what you're going to set your new one to, but I'm going to take your previous one and I'm going to use it to log on to everything. And then I'm going to own everything. So, like, this happens.
Yeah. Please don't let that be the thumbnail. I just caught a glimpse of myself as I went.
No, the thumbnail's already set. You're good. We got your picture. You're straight, Eliza. You're good.
Yeah.
Looking amazing as always. Just pose. You're good.
Yeah. Well, so someone described this described like training awareness to me because I'm not a fan of it, and it was like I am a fan of it. I think it's needed, but I'm not a fan of these businesses that try to overcomplicate
I
it.
think you're like me.
We need like
You
these
need to be
metrics.
in person, showing and visualizing everything that could go wrong and what to look for. The
Needs to be
first
like
company I wanted to stand up when I retired out of the Army, I wanted to do in-person cyber awareness training for organizations, the military, and everything. Like, look, I know you don't want to talk to your help desk because they're going to call you stupid because you can see them into their face. I know you don't want to talk to your admins. Come talk to me. I'll tell you what to look for. We'll figure this shit out. I'll do courses in person. But I suck at sales, and it just never worked. Well, I don't suck at sales. I hate cold calling people. So, like, let somebody else bring someone to me. I can't go to others. It just doesn't work out.
Well, a lot of companies do overcomplicate it as a concept to businesses, and then what they deliver is a patronizing pile of trash to the end user. And I just don't think that that inside of the industry works very well. I don't think we've cracked it yet. And I get that companies are trying. I agree. I think the in-person stuff is cool. You know, we do it for our pre-existing customers and whatever. I won't go into it. But where was I going with this? Yeah. So training and awareness, it's kind of like, this is not my quote. This is a quote from someone called Tom Quinn, who works in cybersecurity in the UK. It's kind of like punching someone in the face and then being like, you should have dodged that. I'm probably paraphrasing this.
If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
Oh, I love that film. I nearly said another quote, but I was like, definitely going to get us cancelled. It was like, it's like trying to watch a bunch of around here. Love that film. Necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No, but it's sterile, and I like it. I need to watch that film again. It's Dodgeball for anyone that doesn't know.
Dodgeball is amazing. That is a great. I love that movie. It is so amazing.
So anyway, like training awareness is kind of like punching someone in the face and saying you should have dodged that, rather than actually teaching someone how to dodge a punch, what the consequences are of getting punched, what it feels like to throw a punch and understand it, and then sending them on their way. Like that would be a bit more valuable than just going, you should have dodged that, which is kind of what we do when we do phishing simulations and we send out phishing emails and then people click on them and we say, that's naughty, you shouldn't have done that. And then we tell them off for it. I have butchered this guy's quote. Let's hope he doesn't watch this.
but it's like, to me, it's like, so I got 5 kids. It's like raising kids, right? I can tell you what to do. I can tell you how to do it. I can tell you to do both. So it's like, hey, fire's hot. Okay, what's hot mean? Like, I don't know what that means. Go ahead, homie. You're going to figure it out. Go ahead. You're going to learn. Like, but I think this is where we get to, like, I think organizations these days have to learn the consequences before they really develop a better practice. Because until you find out that fire is hot and it's going to fucking burn you, you're just like, Mom said it's hot, but you know what? Let's try it anyways. Like, let's put our hand over that flame, over that lighter. Like, let's figure out how hot really is. And then you're like, oh, like, don't put forks and knives into a socket. Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, yes, I've had one of my kids, like, I've literally come in like, why? Oh,
that's terrifying.
He's like, I didn't know. Yeah, you did. I told you not to do that. They don't learn till they learn. You learn now that you don't do that. Now I got to replace the socket, but that's besides the point. But,
thankfully, not the child.
Right? I think companies, like, you can do one of two things. You can either prevent it completely, which is nigh on impossible, or you realize that you have to invest in mitigating and proactive and reactive measures. But a lot of companies will not do that until it's too late. And that's where I say you have to have a good PR department, because your brand is going to hurt more than anything else. The only reason that places like Target, Walmart, Home Depot, and things like that have survived is because they're multi-billion-dollar companies. That is the only reason.
But also,
if it wasn't for that, if you were to take your company right now and your company got breached to the extent of, hey, we had a data leak, we had X, Y, and Z happen, this, that, and the third, there's a good chance bringing back your PR on that. Eliza, I hope you're good because, like, it might go under. Whereas you take a Target who has been breached, who has had all their data lost, but people know them. They're a known company. And let's be honest, people are stupid. And they're just going to go there and be like, I'm going to shop at Target anyways. Let's go. And I'm like, all right, cool. Just lose another credit card. Like, have fun.
Yeah.
You know, so your PR department better be good.
Yeah. No, I get it. I also think, though, that, like, genuinely, there's a lot of breach fatigue. So we're so used to expecting to be our data to be breached now. Like, even in a semi-legitimate way where we sign up to buy deodorant and then we get several other companies that have bought that data and there's nothing we can do about it. So, like, and that's just like, we've just bought a deodorant. Do you know what I mean? As an example.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
But
because that goes back to the Cambridge Analytica shit that went on and everything with Meta and Facebook and all that other bullshit. So there's two things you have to take from that, right? One, if you're not paying for it, you're the currency. If you're not paying for it, you're the currency. And I got a comment here I'm gonna pull up in a second. But the other thing is, companies, even if you are buying something, they still want to make more money. So if I can sell your email address or your phone number or your address to somebody else, I'm gonna do that. And even look at the SBA. I haven't, me and you both, I'm sure you've received pens and other shit from places. You're like, how'd you get my? If you register an address as a company, as a business, guess what? At least here in the U.S., I've received pens in the mail. They're like, hey, you should really buy from us.
I want a free pen.
Like, why are you sending me random ass shit? Don't get me wrong. I like not having an eraser and having the little touchscreen, screen thing. But I'm one person that runs this company. Who the fuck am I going to give pens to?
Me. Like, I want free pens.
Dude, Printful will send you that shit all fucking day. Actually, I don't remember who it was. Somebody literally put my company name and my address on a pen, and I was like, I don't need my address. I'm a social media personality. But
I'm an influencer. All right. Is that what you meant?
But yeah, so like that stuff gets sold. People just take it. And
yeah, so people are used to it. So now you get these companies that are, big, and it hits the news that they've been breached and people don't care. And I mean, people like me and you might give a shit about it, but Doris from down the road, what's Doris going to do about it? It's her only option at getting her shopping online or whatever. I don't know. But there's a lot of things that I think us in cybersecurity forget, that a lot of people just aren't interested.
Let me ask you a question about that, because the big thing here in the U.S., I want to say it was last year, maybe in where you're at too, was TikTok, right? TikTok selling all this shit to China, da-da-da-da. The biggest argument I heard from people that I know, and this isn't watching the Senate hearings, all the other bullshit, it was, why would China pay billions of dollars to run a company when they could literally buy everything they need for $500,000? Literally, you could go to a data broker for $500,000, maybe $2 million, to buy everything you need. Why run a company that can do that for you? And yet here in the U.S., their biggest complaint about TikTok was, well, it's a China company and they're giving all the data and all the da-da-da-da. I could pay someone for everything I need. Literally, I don't even have to do any work or run a company for it. I could pay someone $5 million in one lump sum and say, hey, give me all of this. And they're like, yeah, okay, here you go.
I suppose that in creating it and managing it, they get to control that data. They don't have to answer to anyone. They don't have to register like what data they're asking to see. They don't have to abide by any law that says, oh, we only collect this, we only collect that. They just collect whatever the hell they want, I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't use TikTok.
I'm just saying, in general. Well, and let's be honest, the UK.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I
EU,
need to just die.
With GDPR, has better privacy regulations on data than the US ever will have, because here it's state by state and all this other bullshit. GDPR does more for data privacy, and even that's trash. But let's just say GDPR is better than what the US has.
Yeah, just don't read it unless you want to fall asleep.
Well, that's any regulation, let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Any look, that's like bedtime reading. It's like, all right, I got to go to sleep in 5 minutes. Let me read this. And I'm out.
Yeah.
Well,
I think GDPR has made a difference for sure.
I think a lot of them are. And so let's take this from a different angle, because I could talk to you for hours because it's just hilarious. But and honest, and I love truth. And quit blinding yourself, Eliza. I know that's what you're doing.
Okay.
But
I'm trying to make it look like daytime, but I just
it's not daytime. It is almost 2 a.m. where you're at. Damn it.
Yeah.
But so with everything that's been stated, like, we have to look at this. If somebody wants to really make it in this career field, or even just get into this career field, right? We talk a lot about the technical, the passion, the drive, and everything else that is so hard to find. What would you say? What advice would you give to anybody just trying to break in?
Oh, okay. That's a really good question. Back to the podcast. So, a couple of things. So it depends. So if you're a career transitioner, I would say expect to probably take a pay cut. So if you're like at the top of your game as an advertising executive and you decide that you want to go and be in cybersecurity, you're not going to walk into a CISO role. I don't care what training course you went on for a week. You are not going to walk into a CISO role. You're probably going to have to start off at a role that is not equivalent to what you're doing now. And if you're not willing to do that, this is not the right career for you. Right. So that would be one thing. I think a lot of career transitioners, although I welcome that, I think it's fantastic and we need that diverse skill set. I think that there's sort of a warped view, especially here in the UK. I can't really talk for the US, but in the UK, there's definitely a warped view around, well, I'm the top of my game in, I'm as a school teacher, so I should be able to just walk into cybersecurity and earn the same amount of money and have the same amount of authority. And you go, well, I mean, not really. No, Janice, calm down. And
Bye,
then
Felicia.
The other side of it is, I don't know what that was. I was trying to be American, but it didn't really come across. The other side of it is, I think if you're willing to do that and you're quite junior or you're younger and you don't have responsibilities, so you don't own a house, don't have kids, things like that, be willing to volunteer. Now, I get it. I get that, like, not everyone can afford to work for free, but let's just say that you work at McDonald's, right? Now, if you can volunteer and do a couple of hours a week on an evening or a day, like a Saturday or something like that, try and dedicate a bit of time to getting some experience, or be willing to work minimum wage somewhere just for a little bit of experience on your CV, on your LinkedIn profile, and getting a good reference from an employer, that will do you a great deal of justice. That's how I did it. I was at university working night shifts in a hotel. I was on reception desk. I got fired because I was so bad at my job. What do you mean I've triple booked a room? I'm just going to leave. Like,
you know, I'm out of here. It'll be okay.
Yes, this is boring. Yeah, and what I used to do was, if I had Easter holidays, Christmas holidays, or like summer break, I would save up and then go and be willing to work for free for a week or something, and then just like add it to my CV, and then that gave me authority to chat about my experience in interviews, and it meant that I did really well. So that was how I started it, because I wasn't academic. I'm not an academic person, so I found it really hard to just pay attention in classes. What are you doing?
Grab another beer. I got my beer fridge. Look, I'm at my bar. I got my beer fridge right below me.
Oh, it just looked like you were just randomly disappearing.
Always, just randomly throughout the talk. I just come down here and grab a beer. You'll be all right.
Oh God, the amount of things. I feel like I'm going to watch this back. I'm not going to watch this back because I think I'd rather pull my own ears and eyes off and blend.
Oh no, you'll watch it back because it'll be hilarious and you're going to love it. And you're just going to see how many times I had to go grab another beer, because I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 that I've grabbed, maybe 5. So somebody will have to watch it back and tell me how many I grabbed during the episode. There's 1 or 2 up here from prior to, but during the episode, you're gonna have to tell me how many I grabbed. I wanted it in the comments, actually. Put it in the comments how many I grabbed during the episode.
I can't see the comments.
You don't see the YouTube comments? I thought you were on YouTube. You put a comment out there. People were talking.
Oh yeah, I did. I just thought that would be polite, but I didn't mean it.
So anyways, I do think, Eliza, look, we need to find a time for me to get on earlier with you. I do understand how hard it is with where you're at in the world.
It's fine. I was drinking wine. I'm happy.
You're amazing, by the way.
I know.
All right, quit being as bad as me. I'm the only arrogant ass allowed to be around here, okay? Like this beard is epic. All right, you don't fuck with the beard. But anyways, look, it's been amazing having you, and feel free to stay for a little bit. We'll talk after the show. But otherwise, everybody else in chat, thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all those fun things. Also, if you go to cyberwarriorstudios.com, you will find all the ways to support the episode, support the show. And I'd really appreciate it, because otherwise I keep doing this and it costs me a lot of money to keep putting shit out there. Just saying.
Yeah, he had to pay me thousands of pounds for tonight.
Dude, I got 5 boys, so they eat me through our house and home. So if you could really support my 5 boys, that'd be fucking fantastic. Because my salary barely covers it. Amazingly enough. Well, look, I love you all. You're all amazing. You're all my warriors. You're all my family. And I will see you all next time. Another amazing episode, Security Happy Hour. Take care.
Bye.